as a new driver, just coming on with my board, you want to go through each function of the truck step by step, or even as a point of reference for a driver who is a seasoned driver who may not exactly know what a switch or anything in the truck does. So it's just a general overview of what we do and what the truck does. The first thing I want to talk about is the key cycle. So when you climb in your truck and you turn on your truck into the ignition position, the truck will go through a sequence of tests and it'll make a series of noises. Once these noises are complete, that is considered to be one cycle. And there's numerous sounds in the cab that will trigger a cycle complete. And each cycle usually lasts about 10 to 15 seconds. Once the cycle is complete, you can turn that off. The reason we talk about that is if we ever have an issue with a transmission fault, one of the first things that a shop is going to tell you is the famous 6-key cycle, and that is where you cycle the key 6 times. So when you turn the key on, it'll go through its cycle, and once the cycle is complete, you turn it off. You wait a few seconds, and then you do the cycle again. You do this cycle 6 times, and it should, and I say should, clear out any transmission faults that may potentially cause you to be stranded on the side of the road. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is a brief overview of all the dash functions, all the switches, and all the buttons. First one I want to talk about is the dash brightness increase and decrease, and that is the first key that is, or the first switch that is right next to the key switch. You flip that key switch, you flip that switch up or flip that switch down, and it will increase or decrease the brightness of the dash. So for driving at night, if you like it a little bit more dim, you can turn it down. If you like it a little brighter, you can always turn it up. But that is the first adjustment that we make. The next switch I want to talk about is the interior light switch. Now that is the key, that is the switch that is next to the dash brightness switch. And what that does, that is a 2-position switch. The first position will turn on the red interior light, and that is a red interior light that shines down on the floor. And the second position of this light is your dome light. It'll turn on the dome lights just in the cab itself, not in the sleeper. The next switch I want to talk about, this one is a switch that's utilized for your pre-trip. This is a full light system check. So when you activate this switch, what that does is it activates all the lights on the truck and it operates them in sequence. So when you are hooked up to a trailer or just doing your pre-trip on the truck itself, you can walk around the truck and it will activate each light, high beams, low beams, turn signals, brakes. It activates all the light systems so that you can do a proper pre-trip. The next switch that we have is for our rear work lights, and that's just a very simple push button switch. Push the switch on and the 2 lights across the back of the sleeper come on, so that lights up your work area. One thing I'd like to address on the steering column, because that's the next area that we're going to focus our attention on, is the turn signal and the wiper and washer activation. On most common vehicles, car, pickup, etc., the button on the very end is supposedly the washer fluid, and that's, on these trucks is not the case. The button on the very end is your courtesy flash for your running lights. So when somebody flashes lights at you and you jump lanes, it's the courtesy flash. The actual washer fluid and wiper activation is actually, you grab a hold at the very end and you actually push in towards the turn signal. And this is what activates your windshield washer and your wipers. So the button on the end is your courtesy flash, just a simple push button. The windshield wiper wash is a stalk. Grab the end of the stalk and push in, and this will activate the wipers and the washer fluid. As far as the windshield wipers themselves, they activate the exact same way as any car or pickup. You twist the stalk and it will give you slow wiper speed, or all the way up as your high wiper speed, and then everything in between. Turn signal operates just the exact same way as a conventional car or a pickup truck would. Next thing we want to talk about is cruise control. Very simple operation. There's a simple on and off button to turn your cruise control on or off. your set speed and your resume speed. You can plus or minus how fast you want to go. It'll give an indication on the dash as to how fast you're going. These trucks are all are fitted with adaptive cruise, so these trucks will measure the cruise speed based on the truck or vehicle in front of you and match its speed. It will adaptively change the speed of the cruise control to accommodate a safe following distance for the vehicle in front of you. The next controls on this side of the steering wheel are your audio controls. If you have a cell phone hooked up to your radio system, you can either pick up a call or end a call. Your source switches, you can either AM, FM, satellite. Some of our trucks are equipped with satellite radio. And then a lot of these other buttons, they activate different portions of the dash. For instance, this one here, this is a roller switch. This is a roller and a push button switch in one. So roll up, roll down, push down. It will activate your menu system. This button here also correlates with the menu system on your dash. And then obviously you have your volume up, volume down, mute, and this is all strictly tied to the radio. The next thing we want to talk about is the engine braking system. This stalk is what activates the engine braking system. So in the all the way up position, the engine braking system is turned off. And this is a multi-position stalk. So the first click down will give you your first level, which is your lowest level of Jake brakes. The second level is your second level of the engine braking system, and then all the way down gives you full engine braking capacity. And based on driver and conditions as to where you choose to have it. But this is the system that activates your engine braking system. So in this position, the engine brake is in the off position, and it's a simple click down from level 1, level 2, level 3, and then obviously your max Jake or engine braking parameters. The gear selection is drive, neutral, and then reverse. And one other feature is you have an option for a manual and an automatic position. Now this might come in handy if you're getting into a situation where you know you're going to be approaching a hill, either an uphill or a downhill. You activate this switch on the end of the on the end of the stalk, and it will put you in manual mode or automatic mode. The trucks are always in automatic mode unless you activate this switch, which puts you in manual mode. You can select a upshift by lifting on the stalk or downshift by pushing down on it. So next area I want to focus our attention on is the dash panel, the lower dash panel with all the controls and the switches. The first thing I want to talk about is this valve right here. This valve is the valve that controls your trailer brakes. So when you activate this valve will activate the trailer brakes independent of the truck brakes. So this is useful for when you do your tug test on your pre-trips. When you roll ahead a few feet to perform your tug test, just activate the valve and it will activate the brakes on the trailer. The next switch over is our engine fan. It's a simple on-off. On will activate the engine fan, kick the engine fan on manually, or simply off puts it into automatic mode. There's about a 10 to 15 second delay from activating the switch to turning the switch off that the fan will stay engaged. The next switch over is the traction control switch, and the switch does is if you get into a situation where it'll slip, you can activate this switch to temporarily bypass the traction control system. And what that does is it'll keep the tires able to spin without being stopped by the ABS control. The next switch over, this is our lane mitigation temporary turnoff. And what this does is all of our trucks are equipped with lane mitigation. So if you veer too much to the right or too much to the left within your lane, it'll send a tone through whichever speaker you are too close to. So if you're too close to the right, it'll send a tone through the right speaker. If you're too close to the left, it'll send a tone through the left speaker. If you are going through a construction zone, say in downtown Chicago, where lanes are constantly shifting and the lines are constantly changing throughout the construction zone, you have the ability to temporarily turn it off, and you simply just hold it up pull it up for 3 to 5 seconds, and it will temporarily disable it for about 15 to 20 minutes, enough time to allow you to get through the construction zone. So the next two switches over, these are spare electrical switches. Now, normally these are not utilized unless your particular truck is outfitted with some auxiliary system, which in that case, one of these switches may be utilized to activate that system. The next switch over is our manual regen. Sometimes throughout your travels, the truck will ask for a regen because the diesel particulate filter is getting a little on the full side. If you hold this switch for about 3 to 5 seconds, a series of displays will come up on your screen and the regen process will start. The regen process can take anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes and even up to an hour. So if you're going to go through the regen process, make sure that you have the time allotted to you to be able to complete the regen cycle. The next switch over on this side of the panel, this activates your air suspension deflate. Simply put the switch up and then your air suspension will automatically start deflating. The reason we use this is for coming out from under a loaded trailer that you're setting on the hill or putting into a dock. You do not want to come out from under a trailer that is fully loaded with a lot of weight on it. This can damage the airbags and damage other portions of the suspension. So it's very important that you activate your air suspension deflate when you come out from under a trailer. The last switch on this side of the panel is your power divider switch. Now this switch is to only be utilized in low traction conditions, whether you're either in high volumes of rain or snow and or ice. And what this switch does is when this switch is activated, this will send power to the front drive axle because all semis operate on the rear drive axle. This will send power to the front axle. It is very important that you do not activate this switch if you are in the middle of a spin. So if you have a tire that is on the road that is spinning, you do not want to throw this switch because what will happen is you will cause catastrophic damage to the front drive if you're spinning. You either have to activate this when you're at a complete dead stop, or if you can verify that all wheels are spinning, and then you should be able to activate this. They say that you can activate this at any speed, but I recommend that you do not activate this anything above 30 miles an hour. The next thing on the dash panel is our HVAC control system. This is your blower speed all the way up, turns blower speed on high, and obviously all the way down, turns it off. This is your interior circulation. If you push on the face of this, this will activate the interior recirculation. Obviously your climate control is the next one over, and you can set your desired temperature as to whatever you would like. To activate your AC system is simple push button, and now your AC system is now activated. Next one over is your blender box. This will automatically put the air where you want it. Obviously the first position is at your face and feet, dash and feet, and then full on dash. Now, one other important feature is pushing on this switch now activates your sleeper control panel. So the air system in the sleeper is activated by pushing this button. Moving on, all of our over-the-road trucks are equipped with power inverters that are installed by our staff here at Myborg Enterprises, and it's just a very simple push button, and your inverter is activated.